Jim, good to see you.
Thank you.
I know you've just released a new report on Americans' views related to Israelis and Palestinians.
Yeah.
What's the major headline in that?
I think deep partisan split on the issue, with Republicans being much more hardline and pro-Israel, and Democrats being more balanced in how they want to see a solution to the conflict. The other is the large number of people who are undecided and unsure more than ever before. People are confused for the most part.
Why is that?
I think there's an absence of leadership and an absence of a clear vision of a way forward. The attitudes we've always thought have been soft. When we saw attitudes in the past, I'd say I look at those attitudes, but I don't think people are locked in place. I mean, the religious right is locked in place. Right. But I think most other Americans, including folks on the Jewish community and the Arab community, are looking for a way forward. During the Clinton years, when it was being articulated constantly, people knew where to go, where to look for an answer. I don't think they know that now. President says something, Congress slaps them down, and then you have a year of silence. That does not lead to understanding.
Whether voters see this as a major issue or not, it is going to be significantly impacted by who's elected, right?
Oh, absolutely. I think, as I've been telling folks in the Arab world, Barack Obama might have disappointed you, but Romney ought to scare the hell out of you. This is not an administration to be taken lightly. A Romney administration would be devastating, and on many levels. I mean, I not just read the platform. I don't take the platform seriously, but I've been following this issue, the coalition that Romney represents, the advisors he has. If you didn't like the first 4 years of George Bush, you'd be getting that again. You wouldn't get the second 4 years of George Bush, you'd get the first again. And I frankly think that on the broader issues involving America and the world, the notion that we bomb our way to freedom, or that we unilaterally act, or that we ignore the attitudes of others in being the exceptional nation that has a mission in the world, I think is wrong. Even in the platforms, which are usually not coherent and clear statements, the Democrats talk about more of a consensual building approach to foreign policy, and Barack Obama has understood that. He hasn't always succeeded, but he's understood you got to talk to people. You can't lead if no one's following. And Romney has taken the very opposite approach, and his advisors and the coalition he represents are there too. This is not the George Herbert Walker Bush, James Baker Republican Party. This is the George Bush Jr. neocon Republican Party, and it ought to scare the heck out of people. Jim,
what are Muslims doing in this election? How are they viewing it?
Well, we've been polling all along. We haven't polled yet at this part of the cycle, but we will be polling Arab Americans in 2 weeks. And what I expect, because of the trend line we've been seeing in the polling that we've done up till now, is that while the administration has not fulfilled their aspirations, that the Republicans have made it very clear that there's very little home for folks. We have a hardcore Republican base. We do, about 25%. But I dare say that the numbers will be about 70%, 25%, like we saw in the last election. I don't see anything to have changed that if the Republicans had been welcoming and provided an alternative and addressed the issues. But where even on just the Muslim side, where you had the Park 51, you had the anti-Sharia law, you had the loyalty oaths in the debates among the candidates. The Muslims need to take a special loyalty oath, and then you had this Michelle Bachmann wanting to do a witch hunt in government. Even Arab Americans who are Christian, like myself, we know what that means, right. And so you will see that in my community, people are saying that's a scary party. They don't play fair, and they don't want us. And I think that's the message that is being resonated across the community.
Let me ask you one other question and escalate the issue above just that of your survey. In this election, is religious freedom itself at stake?
If I'm Catholic, and if you listen to my bishops, you'd think so. I don't think so. I have I've not only felt free to go to church, as I do every Sunday, but I felt free enough to go and confront my bishop on the Fortnight of Freedom.
Good for you.
And what I said when we met with them was, I work in a part of the world where religious freedom is an issue. And it is insulting to religious freedom. It's insulting to the Copts in Egypt, to the Christians in Pakistan, to the Christians in Syria and in Iraq, to the Christians in the Holy Land, to speak about this as religious freedom. This is a petulant response to not getting your way on legislation, and to equate it to Thomas More, it's shameful. And so I've been opposed to this, and I don't think it's about religious freedom. What I found interesting in the Republican platform was several very thoughtful constitutional arguments about religious freedom and about the right to display symbols and about not being discriminated against if you have a business and want to assert your religious identity. They didn't mean Muslims. They meant their brand, their particular brand of Christian. Right. And so I think that religious freedom is at stake, but it's not the one the bishops are talking about.
Yeah. So profound an answer. Thank you.